Hey everybody, welcome back. You see what time it is? It's wedding shaming o'clock, honey. Compilation.
Am I the a-hole for leaving my surprise wedding because I felt blindsided? How does one have a surprise wedding? God, I hate surprises. I hate them. I prefer to know every single thing. I'm a control freak. Last week, I, 30 female, was invited to a supposedly fancy party by my longtime boyfriend, Mark. We had been dating for 5 years, and while we had discussed marriage before, there were no immediate plans for a wedding. Where's this going? What's happening here? Don't tell me. Oh God. Oh, I hate this already. I hate it. Thanks, I hate it. Excited about the event, I dressed up in my best attire and arrived at a designated venue. As I entered the grand hall, I was completely taken aback to see all our family, friends, and acquaintances gathered, eagerly waiting. It turns out Mark had orchestrated an elaborate surprise wedding for us without my knowledge! Absolutely not! No f***ing way! No, this is one surprise. Okay, I hate all surprises, but this is like as sure as no from me. Everyone erupted into applause. As I stood there, shocked and overwhelmed. Okay, so but wait, you guys weren't even engaged. One step at a time, all right? We do not have the wedding before the engagement. I felt a mix of emotions. While I love Mark and I dreamed of our future together, the idea of getting married without any prior discussion or consent felt like a breach of trust. Well, yeah. Like, wouldn't you kind of want to be able to plan the wedding and plan who's invited and plan the events surrounding it? Like, I wouldn't want anyone else to be planning that for me. Control freak! I must have absolute control, otherwise I lose my marbles! So I pulled Mark aside and tried to express my concerns and reservations about the surprise wedding. I explained that I wanted a say in the planning process, right? Because you probably thought about it, like, since you were a kid. I wanted to be a part of the decision making and to have the chance to prepare mentally and emotionally for such a significant milestone in our lives. Surprise and wedding should never be in the same sentence. Now I find myself at odds with Mark, our families, and even some of our friends who believe I overreacted and spoiled a beautiful moment. Oh, really? Because I feel like they kind of did that without telling you that you were going to get married. However, I firmly believe that a marriage should be a joint decision with open communication and shared expectations. Abso-frickin-lutely. Everyone's excuse for this is I have always talked about marrying Mark. And again, the problem isn't marrying him. The problem is not having any say in my wedding. Like, honestly, what? What? Like, you didn't get to pick the dress, the hair, the makeup, the people that were there. Mark thought I'd appreciate it. I don't think anybody would appreciate that, honestly. Would any of you appreciate your partner going ahead and planning a wedding without you and then just inviting you to it and surprising you with a wedding? Like, engagements, yes. Like, engagements, by all means, surprise. But the wedding itself? No. Mark thought I'd appreciate it because I always spoke about how stressful planning a wedding must be. Yes, I think it's stressful, but I'd still like to plan one. Oh, buddy. After this whole ordeal, everyone asked Mark and I if we were ending things, which I replied no. I emphasized toward them and Mark, I still wanted to marry him. And I most feel like this is making me more of an a-hole since I just wasted a perfectly fine wedding. Okay, or it could have been, you know, maybe like an engagement and not a wedding. One foot in front of the other, guys. All right. So am I the a-hole for refusing to attend my own surprise wedding even though it was intended as a romantic gesture? No. Edit, I previously omitted this from my post because of the subreddit's word count guidelines. I love surprises. It's a thing everyone has known me to love. Mark, knowing that, the fact that I wanted to marry him and said wedding planning was stressful, thought a surprise wedding would be perfect. Okay. I still hate it. A surprise engagement is bland because it will always be a surprise, but not a wedding. He threw this wedding for the surprise, but explained how in a couple days we could do a courthouse wedding to make it legal. This was his only way to surprise me. I love spontaneity, but legal marriage or not, I wanted to say in my wedding, as you should, babe. To choose a perfect date, to choose my bridesmaids, to pick out my cake. Again, due to these thoughts, everyone thinks I'm an a-hole. because I could have went along with the party and do a redo legal wedding. But again, I felt blindsided and confused, so I left. Okay. He's not an a-hole for wanting to surprise you and doing what he thinks you wanted. And you're not an a-hole for being upset about the fact that he totally went and planned this wedding without you. I just feel like all of this was really unnecessary. I wouldn't have, I don't even know what I would do in that instance. Like, I feel like I would be so like hurt and confused, and that it would be impossible for me to enjoy it.
Why is it that we can't have a surprise engagement instead of a wedding? I don't get it.
Get the hell out of that relationship, not the a-hole 100%. Okay, so there is something very odd about this that's like forcing you into it almost. Public engagements, it's like kind of like the similar thing. You're putting someone in a position where they can't say no. Well, apparently they can. But there is something about this that's very like forceful. You know Mark's an a-hole when he takes his moves right out of Gaston's playbook. That's what it is. It reminds me of Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Oh, sorry, you're marrying me now. Surprise! Oh God, look at this, look at this. Oh God, everybody's... When I was a lad, I ate 4 dozen eggs every morning to help me get large. And now I'm a man, I eat 5 dozen eggs and I'm roughly the size of a barge. No one spends like Gaston, condescends like Gaston. No one selfishly serves his own ends like Gaston. As a specimen, yes, he's infuriating. My, what a that Gaston. Excellent! Oh, that was precious. Oh, I love that. For me, it wasn't just Mark being an a-hole. He could have genuinely had good intentions, just a bad way of putting them in action. But not one of the friends and family actually put themselves in OP's shoes and didn't think that OP might have wanted a word on the day, which is supposed to be one of the best and most important of her life. Yeah, everybody sucks. You're not the a-hole, my dear. And maybe rethink marrying Gaston over here.
No one farts like Gaston, takes a poop like Gaston.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my bridesmaid wear her dead mother's favorite color to my wedding? What? I'm gonna need some context. I, 31 female, was married to my amazing husband, 34 male, on Friday. The wedding went smoothly apart from one guest's dress preference, who we'll call Anna. Anna's mother sadly passed away in January of this year. Her mother was the light of her life, and ever since she passed, Anna has been understandably uptight and distant. I've helped Anna throughout her entire grieving time. We had been planning this wedding since December and decided we wanted an ocean-themed wedding.
Like mermaids?
My family and I grew up on the seaside and have always been close to the ocean. I made it extremely clear to all of my bridesmaids that they were to wear blue, a coral pinky color, or pastel green. Everyone agreed and seemed to love my choices. Okay. Where's this going? Anna's mother always loved the color dark, vibrant purple. Ever since then, Anna would buy everything purple if there was a purple choice. Anna and me went for lunch a few weeks after the passing to catch up and support her. At the lunch, Anna asked me if she could please wear a purple dress to my wedding. I'm not crazy about themes usually, but since this wedding was themed to support my family's tradition, and considering my maid of honor was already going to be wearing a gorgeous pastel blue dress with purple and gold accents, me and my husband, who I decided to call and discuss the idea with, politely told her that we understand what she's going through, but we really want bridesmaids on theme. To this, she looked hurt and left lunch earlier than expected. Okay, this is awkward. Ooh, this is a toughie. Tough titties. I hardly heard from Anna until around 4 weeks after our lunch, despite my attempts at texting, phoning, and even knocking on her door. But she'd continue to shut me off. This was until she texted me, "What do you think of these dresses?" and displayed many different colors of purple dresses in photos. Ooh, it sounds like she's not doing so well, TBH. I kindly reminded Anna that she wouldn't be wearing a purple dress to my wedding. Anna was enraged. I tried to tell her that I understand her feelings, but my wedding is my own special day. To this, she blocked me. Oh geez. Okay. Anna unblocked me 2 days later, apologizing for the way she acted. And then when the wedding rolled around, Anna showed up in a purple dress. What point is she trying to prove? I don't get it. I understand she's mourning, and I understand that this might not leave her in the best state of mind, but I just don't, this is someone's wedding. It doesn't have anything to do with your mother, you know? And I understand that you want to honor her and stuff, but like this is just like a step too far, in my opinion. I asked her why she'd gone against my wishes and that she either had to change or leave. To this, she told me to stop creating a scene and that I was being dramatic and disrespectful. Oh, really? Oh yeah, okay. And dare I say it, a bridezilla? Dude, you have the absolute right to be a bridezilla over this. This is cray-cray. I love people who like create problems out of nothing, you know? Like this doesn't even need to be a problem, but you're creating one. Anna broke out in a screaming match and called me and my family insensitive, selfish words. Okay, but it's like, it's not, what? She was escorted out the door screaming. Once the wedding ended, I received messages from Anna's family, friends, and even Anna. They were all saying how Anna was going through a lot and I was being an a-hole. You are not! She is! So am I the a-hole for not just letting Anna wear the damn purple dress? It's not that you didn't want her to wear the damn dress, okay? It's not about the dress. It's about going against your wishes. I don't know. I feel like both people in this scenario could have taken the high road. I just feel like now there's like a different point to be made. She's not only wearing a purple dress that you asked her not to wear, she's going against your wishes and doing it anyway after you asked her repeatedly not to wear it. Like, what is the big deal? Like, why do you need to wear a purple dress? I don't get it. I fail to see why it's important to wear a purple dress to honor your mother at somebody else's wedding. I don't get it. I'm sorry, I just don't. Am I being an a-hole? I don't know. Not the a-hole. If she's grieving so deeply that she really needed to wear that color, she should have offered to step down as a bridesmaid. As a guest, she could wear the purplest purple that ever purpled without an issue. That's a good point. Like, you're in the wedding party, okay? There's a reason why people are asked to wear certain colors. There's themes to a wedding. It's, you know, for photos and for like, so everybody knows that you're part of the wedding party, etc., etc. This isn't something new, okay? Personally, I think, you know, wearing multiple colors for dresses is fine, but like, why does she have an issue with just this dress color? If she was a guest, she could wear whatever she wanted. It was your wedding, not a memorial for her mother. Literally, like, it's almost like she wanted to make it about her mother. I fail to see how that honors her mother. Like, I just don't get it. You didn't request anything out of the ordinary, and her friends and family are not helping her move through anything in a healthy manner. Yeah, clearly, like, there needs to be some support given to this poor woman who seems to think that this is the best way to honor her mother, and maybe she thinks that this is doing her a disservice and she wants to remember her, but I just feel like there's other ways to heal and honor your parents, you know? I understand wanting to pay tribute to her mother, but it isn't her day, literally. She deserves a not the a-hole for asking the first time, but she is the a-hole for every choice she made after you rejected her, period. All right, you're not the a-hole, babe. It is decided. Am I the a-hole for drawing a line on what I will and won't allow at my wedding? I'm getting married in a month, and my life has changed a bit since people got invited. My older half-sisters and half-brother reached out to our mom and started to reconcile with her after an estrangement that lasted more than a decade. My mom now wants me to invite them, which I said no to. And then she talked about including them in her toast, which I shut down. Okay. To cut what could be a long story short, my half-siblings were 11, 10, and 8 when I was born. Their dad passed away 3 years before I was born. Mom and dad were married 9-ish months when I came along. They hated me, wished I had never been born, or wished me dead on a number of occasions. Oh, absolutely not. Hated mom for remarrying, hated my dad for stealing their family, rejected having anything to do with me over and over again, and said some things that can never be taken back until one by one they moved out and cut everyone off. Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Jesus, take that wheel. I don't know whether this reconciliation is genuine or not. They only appear to be speaking to mom, not my dad. She's met her grandkids, but dad was not welcome. And from what I can gather, I've not been someone they want to discuss. So why do they want to be at your wedding? I don't get it. Like, haven't we, like, are we at the point where, you know, we've decided that we don't like each other? You know, it's okay to like decide that you don't like each other mutually, okay? You don't need everybody to be buddies. If I was put in a position where I had to invite someone that openly hated me to my wedding and I would have to look at them and that would literally ruin the happiest day of my life, I would have a tantrum. I'd be upset, to say the least. No freaking way do I want to look at anyone's face I don't like. On my wedding day! My dad admitted to me that mom said the kids had no idea they had another aunt. Oh, frickin'. They only seem to know about her and her first husband, so my dad was never mentioned. For this reason, and for the fact that it's so new and no amount of true healing can happen in the 7 to 8 weeks From my wedding to when this all started, I don't want them at my wedding, and I don't want them brought up in a toast given that the history that is there. On my wedding day, I do not want to be reminded of the fact that part of my family hated me for being born and has refused any kind of relationship with me for things outside of my control. Why do they even want to be there? Like, I just don't get it. And why do they need to be brought up? My mom told me if I won't invite them, then that's for me to decide, but I can't censor her. Okay, then she can't come either. I told her I was asking her to do something for me on my wedding day, and if she can't, she won't be given a toast to make on that day. Oy, oy, oy. She told me I'm being a controlling bridezilla. Or are you just being a monster-in-law? One of my grandparents or someone else in the family might bring them up. I told her I already talked to some of them about it because they approached me first.
She got so mad.
She told me they are working hard to reconcile and I'm holding on to childhood issues that should be forgiven. My mom is adamant I am behaving inappropriately here. Am I the a-hole? Has this family, your estranged family, have they reached out to you to try to reconcile or just her? Because based on what you've shared, it doesn't really seem like they've made any attempt to apologize for what they've said to you or to heal. Listen, we all love to make fun of bridezillas on this channel. We all love to make fun of people, who have ridiculous demands and want things for free, etc., etc. But let me be clear. It is your day. It is your wedding day. You're probably paying for it, and this is supposed to be the happiest day of your life. And if you want or don't want certain things, you don't want to see certain people, whatever, and you're willing to, kind of not have those relationships after the wedding because people are going to be butthurt, it is your day. It literally is your day. You get one day, okay? One day where you get whatever the hell you want, princess. And anyone that has a problem with it, if anyone has a problem with it, they can go f themselves, okay? Not the a-hole, it's your wedding, and her obsession with making you uncomfortable at your own event is frankly disturbing. Literally, why? Oh, God. I know you want your mother to be there, but I genuinely consider the pros and cons of uninviting her if I were you. Yeah. It would be one thing if you and these estranged family members had stupid fights when you were kids, but that's a pretty terrible thing to say to someone. They clearly don't want you to be a part of their family. Their children don't even know you exist. So why do you have to pretend like they exist now?
I don't get it.
Not the a-hole at all. They have yet to reach out, period. So you don't need to decide anything about their sincerity. I'd warn the band or DJ that if your mom starts talking about them, they need to play her off like they do at the Oscars. Ooh, smart. Start blasting music until she stops. Hopefully it doesn't come to the point where you have to take the mic away. Why can't we just respect the bride's wishes? I've come across this list that a bride put up on the internet of 37 expectations she has of her bridesmaids. And the list has gone viral, and we're gonna find out why. I've read a lot of posts about issues with bridesmaids. I gave out contracts. It explained all my experiences from the beginning to end. I started with 10 and ended with 6 bridesmaids. I refused to be stressed. Anne and I didn't budge on any of it. Please put your email in the comments if you would like a copy emailed to you to personalize. That is a long list. All right, so I'm guessing she had 10 bridesmaids and only 6 decided to participate because of this list. Here it is. Number 1, I will not try to convince the bride to change anything in her wedding. Number 2, I will not talk negative about anyone in the wedding. Number 3, I will not gain more than 3 kilograms between now and the wedding. I mean, I can understand needing to fit into a dress, like a dress that the bride has bought for the bridesmaid, but also kind of life happens, life happens. Sometimes we get thrown a curveball and we start eating a little bit more than usual anyway, and we gain a little weight. I can't believe that it's in the contract that they can't gain weight. I wonder how long until the wedding that is. 3 kilograms is a lot to gain in a very short amount of time, but not over a long period of time. Number 4, I will wear only black or dark brown hair on the day of the wedding. Highlights may be accepted with prior approval. Number 5, I cannot wear any lashes the day of the wedding unless professionally installed. What if you're really good at putting lashes on though? What if the professional isn't as good as putting on lashes as you are? Sometimes professionals don't know how to do my makeup. I find myself constantly having to fix professional makeup because it's just not my style, or because I think I want a bit of a bigger wing or something. I brought my eyelashes to set the other day. Your girl filmed a TV show and I brought my eyelashes to set and I put those bad boys on myself. And it looked amazing. Number 6, I have to attend the bridal shower and bachelorette party, fitting and rehearsals, and wedding. Only time this can be missed is death or jail, pregnancy over 5 months, and some sickness with a recent doctor's note. Death or jail, eh? Death or jail.
your death, like your bridesmaid's death, or like someone else's death. It's just death. Could we get a little more specific on that? Number 8, the brides will choose my makeup artist the day of the wedding. I will agree to wear the dress the bride chooses regardless of my own opinions, style, or color. Like, I feel like all of these things are kind of a bit unspoken. Like, I don't think that you need to make a list or a contract, as it were, to get people to do what you want. It just seems a little bit confrontational. Just a little bit. Right, Chair? What, nothing to say? You seem to be talking over me quite a bit. Number 10, I will not wear any extra accessories, items of clothing, or jewelry the day of the wedding except my wedding or engagement ring. I will not unintentionally fall pregnant before the wedding. Oh, Jesus. Pregnancy under 5 months will not be excused from attending wedding events. Excused, eh? Excused? What is this, grade school? I will support the bride in everything she chooses. Again, why do we need a contract? I will not consume more than 7 units of alcohol during any event except the bachelorette party. There will be no limit. Well, that's good. Sounds like we'll need it. I'm not going. I wouldn't go, but sounds like it's needed. I will not bring a date to the wedding or reception without bridal approval. I will not bring any outside people except kids to any meeting. I will not bring my kids to the wedding unless they are part of the wedding party, no exceptions. I will make sure I have an accountable babysitter the day of the events, and I understand that no show for no babysitter will not be an acceptable excuse. So they can't bring the kids. But also, if the babysitter doesn't show up, then they still have to, so what are they gonna do with the kids? It's just a what if, right? I will not make any advances toward males in the wedding party. God damn it! That's the only reason why I go! Why not? Why not? What's the problem? Isn't that what weddings are for? Meet eligible bachelors and bachelorettes? I will not date anyone in the wedding party that I wasn't dating before I signed this contract. What the f? I will be happy and positive at all times during the wedding and reception. I mean, you're making it kind of difficult. I will not grow sensitive and angry with the bride because I understand that she has a bossy attitude. No way. No way. Really? You're bossy? No, I had no idea. No idea whatsoever. I will not attempt to outdo the bride in any way. You must look like, but not like a pile of, you know? You must look like a little turd, not a pile of. Don't go overboard on the. I will wear the hairstyle the bride chooses for the wedding day. I understand that I have to purchase my own dress and shoes and hairstyle for the wedding. Okay, so wait. I thought that you were making that demand because you were paying for the dresses, which would make sense because, you know, you're having something made, but they also have to pay for the dress and the shoes and hairstyle? I understand that the bachelorette party may be a destination getaway. Oh, finally, something positive. I understand I have to purchase a bachelorette party t-shirt and fund my own trip if it is away. I understand that the maid and matron of honor will need help funding some of these events. The wedding and reception are not included. I understand that the bride does not want any suggestion and this agreement is on here twice, 2 different ways because the bride wants it to be clear. It's definitely not in the fine print. Only suggestion allowed is a way to get her exact item at a cheaper price. I will not drop out of the wedding party for any of the reasons listed above. If I do not like anything listed, I will not sign the contract and I will be replaced. It's good that you feel that your bridesmaids are replaceable if they don't agree to your demands. I understand that I do not agree to the above terms and it will not ruin the bride and I's friendship, all right? But if I sign and agree and later want to drop out, it will ruin our friendship. At least she warned you. I understand that no friendship to the bride is bigger than anyone in her wedding party and everyone will be treated equally. I understand that I may have to do physical activity at the reception and this requires practices provided by the bride. No colored contact lenses allowed? Why not? What's the issue? No black drawn on eyebrows or thick drawn on, matter of fact, revert to black makeup, law above. No glossy colored lipstick allowed. Why not? The kind that looks very shiny and bright? Why? I love that. No, I'm gonna show up wearing blue lipstick. That's what's up. No colorful nails the day of the wedding. Only colors allowed are American, French, or nude. Well, I guess I'm out. I will provide the bride with my normal 7-day schedule within 5 days of signing this contract. I will agree to save at least $50 a month for expenses for the next 14 months. This is a lot. So this article says that we all need to be considerate of the fact that planning a wedding is a very stressful event. And that's, I think, why all of these Bridezilla posts seem so outrageous to us. Because it is stressful. It's stressful for everyone involved. It's like a big show, almost. A show of people's love. But it doesn't have to be super stressful, you know? Here were some of the responses. Well, she is right. The wedding party will be treated equally awful. But hey, she did allow exemption in the event of death. What a gal. Thank God. I was planning on dying before your wedding. If this person were my friend, I would seriously have to reconsider my life choices. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of people dropped out. I feel like that's understandable. I would never sign such a thing. Too funny. I have to pay for things in which I have no choice and must save up $500 for expenses that I cannot choose or control in any way. Not just no, but you need an intervention. No. I'm paying the bills and she's choosing my hair color and style. It's a good point, man. Like, if you're paying for it, I feel like you have the right to make these kinds of demands, but you're not paying for it. Why do people not realize that their wedding is not the center of other people's universe? They'll be the same if they have kids and expect everyone to make the little crotch goblin the center of their world. But I've got a child. But there are babies in the car. You can't park here. The minute I was given these rules, I would have declined, and although the bride says our friendship will be fine, I say goodbye forever. I don't need friends like this one. With friends like these, who needs enemies? That's a little too much friend, you know? A little much. Oh my god, guys, you know what I got? We're gonna unbox. I got a mallet! I actually got it, and it came so quickly too. Order in the court! My microphone doesn't like it though, let's see. Oh. Order? Softly, Charlotte, softly. I'll clean it later. Bride-to-be gets lit up for worrying dad's wheelchair will ruin her wedding. I think you have bigger things to worry about, sweetheart, but go on. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my dad to walk me down the aisle because he's in a wheelchair? I don't even need to read it to assess, but go on. About 3 years ago, my dad was injured in a really bad hit-and-run car accident. He broke just about every bone in his body and left him paralyzed from the waist down. Our relationship has always been really good, but I hate seeing him in pain and admittedly try to avoid seeing him because it makes me uncomfortable. Imagine how he feels. In November, I'm getting married. I've been with my fiance for 4 years, and he and my dad get along really well. Naturally, the discussion of who was going to give me away came up in the family group chat, and I kept silent after I realized my dad would be in a wheelchair. We always talked about him giving me away and having a dance at my wedding, and I don't want to be reminded of what could have been at my wedding. I messaged my mom privately, and I told her I want my uncle to walk me down the aisle as we are incredibly close. She naturally asked why, and I told her that my dad being in a wheelchair would add complications to the wedding. The walkway would have to be widened to accommodate his wheelchair, and he wouldn't be able to hold my arm or give me a proper hug. She was outraged, calling me an ableist piece of shit, and removed me from the group chat. My aunt has since called me, telling me my dad is absolutely devastated. Am I the a-hole? Yeah. Update. I appreciate all the people who have messaged me offering support. Your kind words mean a lot to me, whilst rifling through a bunch of messages telling me to do horrible things to myself. Regardless of what you think of me, telling me to do these things isn't okay. I agree with you. It's not okay to do that. I'm going to call my dad tomorrow. Update 2. Can you please stop messaging me such horrendous stuff? Think about what you're saying. You may not agree with me or my life, but you're just as bad as I am if you're going to go around saying stuff like that to strangers on the internet. Not that I owe it to anyone, but I thought I'd give you all an update. My boyfriend and I have decided to part ways, and I've apologized to my dad. As you can probably tell, this person was dubbed the asshole. You're the a-hole and you know it. This is your father. The man went through hell and barely survived, leaving him severely disabled, and all you think is about how it would look, how it won't fit your fairy tale versions of how things would have been, if not for his near-death accident. How about what if he just wasn't there at all, you know? Your priorities are askew, and I'm wondering why your fiance sees fit to marry someone that would likely leave him if he ever, God forbid, meets the same fate. Bridezilla asks for free wedding in return for Instagram exposure, but doesn't even have Instagram. Shut up! Hi y'all, as you know, me and Dave married. Soon I will be Mrs. David Blank. Can you believe it? I can, lol, I deserve it. Oh, I love the sense of self-worth. I love it. I do. We are blessed that Dave's godmother has invited us to have her wedding at her estate in Maine. I'll share some photos later, but it's gorgeous and it's a historical landmark, which means my wedding is going to be historic. Lol. Because we're having an out-of-state wedding, which means we will be traveling and staying in hotels, and also because our honeymoon is in Dubai. 1 month. In Dubai. I'm asking for y'all's help with some of the wedding stuff. If anyone has any experience as a professional photographer, not a hobby, but getting paid as a job, please contact me or David. We need you. This could be considered your gift to us. We would need you to pay for travel to Maine and everything, but I think once you saw where the wedding is, you'd be begging us for the opportunity. Don't think so. If anyone knows a good caterer in Maine or willing to travel to Maine who will work for exposure doesn't pay the bills! I'm going to be starting an Instagram soon. So you don't have an Instagram, but you are using exposure as currency. Got it. Any dress designers out there, I want that one-of-a-kind dress. You need to be professional and talented. I want to feel like a princess. I will post your info and all of the pictures here on my Instagram, which doesn't exist yet. We also need all the usual stuff: flower, seating, music, orchestra, no DJ. This will be classy. I can already tell you our event will get pressed because of the historic location. Please send me a message if you can help. See y'all in June. We found a free location. Now who wants to pay for the rest of the wedding?
But it's historic. It's historic.
You have to be a professional, not just a hobby. She wants every aspect of the entire wedding to be donated, basically. Unreal, her husband is doomed. Unless he is just as much of a jackass as she is. You know, I think that maybe sometimes they deserve each other. You know what I'm saying? Or he's just a pushover. I will be starting an Instagram soon. She has no exposure to give. That's a new one. It is new. I always get surprised. No matter how many of these videos I do, someone always surprises me. Bride invites me to wedding and expects me to pay for the venue. I haven't spoken to her in 2 years, by the way. But what, that's it? 2 years? So this friend I made in university and I were close once until she got engaged 2 years ago and cut off all her single friends because she's
Too good for single friends and can only now have engaged or married friends.
lol, according to her. She said that, bro. Okay. I haven't spoken to her in 2 years since that and have since gotten over it since it's been a while. I get an email today that I thought was spam. Turns out it was a wedding invitation, not personally from her, but from her coordinator inviting me to their wedding. At the bottom of the invite was a bill for $400 to pay for the venue plus $150 for the meal. So wait, she hasn't spoken to you in 2 years and she's trying to get her guests to help pay for the venue? She probably figured out that, like, in order to pay for the venue or to get enough money from her guests, she's gonna have to invite a lot of people, including people she hasn't spoken to in 2 years. I know this varies around the world, but where I am, the bride and groom or maybe their family pays for the venue and the food, not random people you don't talk to. 20 people in total were invited to the wedding. Okay, weird. Safe to say she doesn't have many friends. What? You could see all the emails in the sent to bar. So I guess she's pretty much only inviting me to help pay a cost. I would never have the balls to do that to someone, especially after telling them that we can't be friends because you're engaged and can't have single friends. And no, I'm not the kind of friend that parties or drinks. She cut off any friend she had that wasn't engaged or married. So clearly she wasn't left with many. I like how she still thinks you're a good enough friend to help pay for the venue. I now know what they mean when they say weddings bring out the worst in people. Okay, after I declined to her coordinator, the bride messaged asking why I declined, so I'm gonna give my response.
So,
After she sent me the message asking me why I declined, I just said it's impossible to finance that. She didn't say anything. I spoke to a mutual friend. The mutual friend isn't going, but was told about the mandatory payment, lol, prior to the invitations going out. Because basically, like the other users here suggested, I was like plan C of people to invite, and she really needed people to come to this wedding because the venue gives her a discount if the quantity of people reaches a certain amount. Everyone in the wedding party is not paying. Okay, so there's probably more than 20 people going. You were just in like the third round of invites. So I was a last resort type thing, basically like so many of you suggested. Since we were all aged 23 to 24, not everyone who she invited was able to pay in the first place. So yeah, she was like,
who's next on this list?
oh yeah, oh she'll do.
She'll do.
I guess she thought I'd forgotten about her reasoning for cutting off her friends, but I didn't. As for everyone wondering who the fiance is, no one has met him, not even the mutual friend, but he was in charge of a club at our university and I've heard he's kind of sick. Okay, that helps the situation. So I guess she realizes, like, you can't just cut friends off and then send them that years later. That doesn't work, but she wanted to try her luck. He has a lot of friends as well, so I think his friends overshadow hers and she just wants someone there for her. Well,
I mean,
like, you're also 23 to 24, so there's not that many people, at least not that I know, that were married at 23 to 24. But no, you cannot harvest and bear fruit from a tree you never watered. That's what's up. Can relate to friends kind of forgetting that once they're in relationships that, you know, their friends take a back seat and they're not as important. But guess who's gonna be around when that boyfriend isn't there anymore or when that boyfriend makes you cry? You cannot just water a relationship whenever it's convenient for you. That's not fair to your friends. I'm guessing it's more than 20 people, but you were part of the group that was expected to finance everyone else. Oh, you think? Oh, that's an interesting take. Bingo, this is what my boyfriend was saying to me. Okay, so
Let's just invite some people we don't really like and make them pay for it so the rest of everybody else doesn't have to.
let me do the math. I got a calculator. I mean, I don't really need, I do need a calculator to do this. $8,000 for a venue does sound
Comparable.
My best friend's getting married this year. Her venue is $8,000. She's having about 50 people. So it sounds like she's asking people she doesn't even really like that much. Like they weren't even in the first tier to pay for her wedding. Or you weren't in the first round of invites and they moved on to the next group to make up for the people who said no. Yeah, that's definitely it. I wouldn't pay $550 to go to my own wedding. I mean, there might be ways around it. Shame. Oh God, speaking of weddings, so my mate's niece is getting married. The invite stated that everyone is required to come early to help set up the marquee and decorations. It's $360 per head to be there, and the men are required to help break the marquee back down. Also, no one, especially women, are allowed to wear overpowering scents, as the bride doesn't want them competing with the flowers she's chosen. And no floral colors, as it will be distracting in photos. And once the cleanup has been done, could everyone promptly leave? If someone asked me to do that, I would laugh. I'd laugh really hard in their face. Had to tell mom she can't wear this to my wedding. Have gotten the silent treatment since. How did that conversation go?
Oh, I love this dress so much. I was thinking about wearing it to your wedding.
Mom, that's a wedding dress.
Oh, no, it's not. It's off-white.
It's the silent treatment for me, you know? You bitch! You how dare you! Gay wedding, but the only guest not in black. Did someone miss the memo? No, she got the memo. She got the memo. Because the chances of her not getting the memo are quite slim, seeing as he's in black, but she isn't. I have a huge dilemma, and I'm seeking advice. My family and I are huge seafood lovers. However, my best friend / maid of honor is allergic to seafood. She's allergic enough where she can't be around seafood without breaking out in hives. I'm bummed out that I can't have seafood at my wedding or the events leading up to it. I'm not sure how I should approach this situation. I don't want to seem insensitive, but I'm also getting pushback from my family who feels it's unfair to not have any seafood because of one party. I haven't talked to my maid of honor about it yet because it seems like she's assuming I won't have seafood at my wedding. How do I approach this issue so everyone is comfortable? Am I wrong for wanting to have seafood? I know my friend's health is important, but I also get one wedding and I feel like I'm missing out. It sounds like your best friend could probably die. So I would say we could probably go without the seafood and still have a good wedding. Or don't have her as your maid of honor. If you find seafood more important than your best friend, you're a bridezilla.
From Charlotte. She misses you. She just wants to say hi. Hi. I love you guys. She won't take me out of the box. Shh.
It's because your hair is prettier than mine.
Well, I know that. I'm glad you said so. It's a healthy thing to admit when you're wrong.
No gaslighting in this house. Not even with my shark puppets. Mother of the bride. Bride's dress also had a bejeweled top and float bottom.
Oh.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of gold, but no, it's yeah, no. I had to remind my friend the other day. She was like, "What do you think of this dress?" I'm like, "Oh, what's it for?" She's like, "Well, it's for a wedding. Is it too, like, revealing?" And I'm like, "Babe, it's white. You can't wear white to a wedding." Like, there are genuinely some people who really, really forget.
Oh man, finding a venue is hard.
My wedding has a bit of a twist, and basically we're running inflatable obstacle courses and games where the winning side gets a lovely cocktail dinner with bottle service and cocktails, and the losing side have a food truck and get their own drinks from an esky. Looking for a venue that allows that kind of catering and BYO and has room that doesn't charge a crazy amount. Posting anonymously as we aren't telling our guests about the twist until they arrive in summer in this group. Wait.
So in order for your guests to eat at your wedding, you're gonna make them like compete for food and drinks? Sorry. Wow. And in their wedding attire, no doubt. And you're not gonna tell them in advance. Wow. I think maybe we should like go back to the drawing board a little bit.
My wedding is coming up and I'm planning it all out. My best friend has been so excited to help me plan everything and has even offered to help me pay for some things, which is really sweet because neither me or my fiance's families are really helping. Because of her excitement and everything else, I don't have the heart to tell her I don't want her as my bridesmaid. Or even to come up with a reason that doesn't hurt her feelings. The dresses I want wouldn't look good on her body type. They're sleeveless. She has bigger arms with stretch marks. And she doesn't really have a figure. She's always been awkwardly shaped. Even looking at our prom pictures, she ruined some of the photos. We would all look really nice and she didn't look as good as us. You rang? I'm trying to figure out a way to tell her that she can't be a bridesmaid, but I don't know what to say that she doesn't take offensive, or I should make up a position for her that day. So that's when it's time for photos. At least I can separately do them.
I dreamed of this day since I was a little girl. Don't tell me I'm being shallow. My wedding should be perfection, right down to the bridesmaids and groomsmen. No one cares about your wedding this much.
Like literally no one. I know to some of you weddings aren't a big deal. Even as a kid, I used to try on my mom's wedding dress and picture the day I would get married. It's my day and I shouldn't even have to give this much thought to someone else's feelings. Sorry, I just consumed something very disgusting. I like how you're still letting her pay for things even though she won't be your bridesmaid. My heart bleeds for that poor bridesmaid. She's not a bridesmaid. Taking advantage of her, knowing you wouldn't include her, is another level of evil. It's really messed up. Not bridesmaid, best friend who has offered to pay for some things. How presumptuous of me. A best friend who pays for some things definitely shouldn't be considered a bridesmaid because of aesthetics. Everyone else who couldn't be bothered seems much better suited. You sound like a bully, and you're not her friend. Imagine being this worried about superficial things, you know?
Her body was so fat, she ruined everything.
And if you really considered her a friend, you wouldn't talk about her like that. Saw these in a wedding group and was reminded of how sad and twisted it is when couples compare themselves to the Joker. Wait, the groom is dressing up as the Joker? Why? What are you trying to say? Is it just a big joke to you?
Why so serious?
My friend group and I talk about this wedding to this day and probably will for the rest of our lives. The bride and groom decided to do things on a very, very small budget. That's fine. Frugal weddings and budget weddings can be beautiful and nice. There's a difference between a frugal wedding and a cheap wedding, however, and this was cheap. For instance, the wedding was in July. They decided to hold it in a non-air-conditioned park shelter. Ooh, I'm just thinking of the sweat and the running makeup and the pit stains. Ugh. The decorations were actual trash. The bride decided me and other bridesmaids needed tiny top hats, which she made from discarded styrofoam cups. Mine had ants in it. Ah! Ew. She asked me to be the maid of honor. I was flattered, but confused. She'd had 3 maid of honors before me, and they all quit for various reasons, mostly baby daddy drama related. I love some good baby daddy drama. Most of the time. She wanted live music but wouldn't pay a pianist. My friend Steven's sister said she'd play the wedding march on keyboard for $50. She said sister couldn't actually play the piano, but she did the pre-recorded wedding march song. Nobody could tell the difference because the woman in charge of baking the cake got drunk the day before and was baking the cake in the non-air-conditioned park shelter's little kitchen while listening to the radio.
Very loudly.
See, I feel like we talk about like how expensive weddings get and how you don't really need to spend all that much to have a good wedding. But do we want to put, you know, like trash on people's heads? Do we really want to, you know, skimp on things like a pianist? I mean, if no one could tell the difference, then what does it matter? Still though, it's all right to spend a little money on your wedding. The bride and groom tried to write their own vows, got in a fight over it, and didn't tell the officiant until the day of that there were no vows. Fortunately, he was on it and had backup vows ready to go. That's a little bit of a red flag, no? I don't think they need to be an essay, but like you can't think of a few words to say to the effect of why you love your partner and want to marry them. I'm concerned. The bride hadn't tried on her dress, which she'd bought from AliExpress until the day of. Ooh, no. It was way too small and we had to rip out the back and safety pin in some satiny white fabric, which would have been great if the dress hadn't been off-white. The groom made comments and it turned out that the whole dress thing was based on his mom offering to pay for the dress, then rescinding because she had to bail out his brother. My friend, instead of going to an actual store and buying a dress, picked one off of AliExpress. Hey man, if you want to save money on your dress, by all means, go for it. Go on Wish. There's some gems on there, but you got to sift through. But make sure you have enough time to order a new dress if nothing is up to your standards, which is like probably going to be the case. This would have been less weird if I hadn't been dress shopping with her like 3 times because her mom couldn't/wouldn't pick out a mother of the bride dress. The groom's entire family, including his best man and his 2 groomsmen, left right after the meal. Spaghetti, green beans, and McDonald's orange drink was served. The DJ, my friend Steven, and his Bose speakers. Hey, those are pretty good sound, man. This sounds pretty good. The bass is... Steven didn't know this and tried to announce the groom's dance with his mom. Oh, his mom had left. Apparently his family was furious it was a dry venue. The only member of the family left was the ring bearer, who, it turns out, was forgotten. I mean, there would have been an excuse for that if it wasn't a dry wedding. We had to take him home because his family wouldn't come get him. Oh no. Oh, it keeps going. The groom slept through the rehearsal and showed up to the wedding drunk. Oh, I see. Okay, so he was already drunk. He pre-gamed for the wedding and had to continue going to get drunk. I see what happened there. We had to put another friend on bouncer duty because 2 of the bride's aunts tried to walk away with the cash envelope. We gave him the envelope because he was the tallest and we figured he could outrun the aunts. Fair assumption. The bride's brother was originally on envelope duty, but we caught him taking a 50 out of the envelope, so we had to take it from him. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
We had to politely inform the best man he couldn't smoke on the porta-john. You stressed out? Is this wedding stressing you out? You need a little ciggy? Inside the porta potty? We had porta-johns instead of actual working bathrooms. They're only nice at the beginning, and then they slowly, progressively start to get more and more disgusting. The worst, though, was the photographer. As maid of honor, I was informed day of that I had to keep the photographer 100 feet away from the ring bearer and flower girls at all times. He was a registered, but also the bride's uncle! And he volunteered to do the pictures for free, so he ended up using a telephoto lens because he couldn't get close enough to the wedding party to take the pictures. They divorced a couple months later after the house they were staying in burned to the ground. I have no idea to this day why they even got married. Well, you wouldn't have this story to tell everyone. At least there's that. At a park, pickup trucks with igloo coolers open on the tailgate were the bar. Everything was served in red Solo cups before the wedding. Everyone got drunk. The bride walked down the aisle drinking from a red Solo cup instead of holding a bouquet. It was essentially a tailgate party with a preacher invited. Was it fun? I mean, sounds kind of fun. Really old friend of my wife's. She hadn't seen her in years, but was invited to her wedding. The guy this chick was marrying was absolute I studied the blade levels of cringe. He was shirtless, wore black jeans, and his arms were covered in barbed wire tattoos and quotes that you find on those idiotic bat skeleton memes when they point guns at you and claim they'll f you up if you hurt anyone I care about kind of shit. All right, so Reddit sad cringe. Got it. It was quickly apparent my wife and I were the only ones in attendance that didn't live in a trailer park and practice normal human hygiene. Oh, that's fun. They were roasting what I thought was a suckling pig on a spit, but as it cooked, I noticed shit bubbling out of its ass and its stomach was swelling. Ew! Ew! I asked his best man if this was a properly slaughtered pig, and the best man proceeds to regale me with the tale of how he and the groom got shit-faced the night before, climbed into a nearby farm, stole this pig, shot it in the head, and impaled it with a long piece of rebar, which upon closer inspection was what it was turning on. Holy cannoli. Just so happens while we were discussing the groom's recent crime, the pig's stomach exploded! Blood, shit, and guts poured out in enough quantities to put out the fire. Ooh. Or probably make it explode more. to be honest. Sulfur, dangerous thing. Wife and I had already given each other the time for us to GTFO of Dodge look before this, but needless to say, we beelined for the car and left. We later found out the cops showed up and arrested the groom and his best man once the farmer they stole from realized one of his prize pigs was missing. The groom tried to fight the cops and got tased. He made it easy for them by already being shirtless.
Oh my goodness.
The best man screwed the groom's mother between the meal and the dancing. The groom finds out and punches the best man, breaking his hand. The best man drives away and gets stopped by police for drunk driving. Being a wedding photographer is awesome. I mean, it can be certainly entertaining. Case in point. Did you get photos though? Camo print wedding dress that was borderline see-through. That kind of defeats the purpose, no? Walk down the aisle to the Scooby-Doo theme. Interesting choice. Nobody knows why they chose that song, including the couple themselves. They divorced a few months later after they both stopped cleaning the house in an act of defiance against one another. Yes, I'm going to punish you by making you live in our filth. But then I also have to live in the filth too. I was actually the bartender, but it was a hoot. First, wedding was outside and it stormed violently. Groom was hammered pre-wedding. Recipe for excellence. Hit on all the bartenders. Then the DJ got hammered, made lewd comments to women in the microphone. Then basically everyone was hammered, knocked over the wedding cake, which also happened to be a table with many candles. So the place caught on fire. Good times. I often wonder how that marriage worked out. You should look into it. I think there's a general theme here that if the wedding is not so classy, the couple doesn't usually last. But then again, that can't always be true. Come on. Isn't it just about your love in the first place? Who cares if there's a stolen suckling pig that still has poop in it? I mean, I never really thought of that before, but like, I guess you have to like kind of clean it out, no? Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. A wedding on the beach behind Hooters. The officiant stood next to a trash bin. Okay, so literal trash. As if it was planned, the trash collector pulled up during the vows. Did he wait to change the bag? Absolutely not. But he couldn't have just waited. No, he's doing his community service, all right. Mind you, if he had just waited, it would have been more hours for him, but don't ask me how I know that. Children at the wedding swarmed the couple like the flies around the trash can just after the kiss, stepping all over her dress. She bent over to adjust her sandal and a pack of Marlboro Reds fell out of the bust along with her right breast. It felt like we were rubbernecking instead of witnessing a marriage. I feel like we could make a TV show out of this. The bride and her sisters did a striptease/lap dance on the groom immediately following dinner in front of his grandmother. Okay, wait. Sisters. Blood related sisters? Where was this wedding could you give a little more context? I'm curious. Was it Alabama? Sweet home Alabama, where the sisters are for game. Sorry if you're from Alabama. Come on now. It's all right. It's all right. We love you, even though you love your sisters. Moving on. I'm a wedding videographer, so I've seen some things, and not while necessarily trashy, one moment from a 2018 wedding stands out. Bride's dad gets up for his speech, where a 30-minute long speech plays out recounting embarrassing memories of the bride and being generally unathletic, taking soccer balls to the face, etc. Truly cringe-inducing, and the bride was very uncomfortable. He then tells the audience a story of how he used to travel for work, and at the time the bride was obsessed with Disney, Pirates of the Caribbean, and would often make up her own Disney characters, one being a French-speaking bird. She would make personalized cards with poorly drawn Jack Sparrow and French bird characters and send them to various locations when he was away traveling for work. Cute story, but entirely inappropriate and far too long for a wedding speech. Finally, he raises a glass for the conclusion of his speech. Thank God. Thank the Lord! In Jesus' name, amen. Then suddenly, two D-list local actors from the local theater troupe come out from behind the back door of the venue, dressed as, you guessed it, Jack Sparrow and a woman in a French hat with wings, our French bird character from earlier. They had come to the wedding to deliver a card, but what plays out is a terribly acted story of how Jack Sparrow had gotten drunk on his journey to the venue. Their ship had run aground and he ditched the French bird lady who's yelling in French. No one understands what she's saying. The bride is mortified and the groom is mouthing to the bride's mom to get dad off stage. This back and forth between Jack Sparrow and the French bird goes on for about 10 minutes, with the dad as jovial in-between mediator, thinking he's crushing this speech the whole time. Oh God, it's always so awkward when they think it's like absolutely nailing it. At least be a little self-aware to know that it's bad. Finally, Jack Sparrow unfurls the card for the bride and groom, which is a giant poster with a picture of the B&G saying something along the lines of best wishes. Everyone was stunned and both the bride and groom were so upset. The father-daughter dance afterwards was very uncomfortable. I got a video of the entire thing. Show us. I demand it. At least it was fun for you. I don't even know where to begin. Ceremony was comprised of immediate family, then followed by a reception with all guests in a relatively nice hotel banquet hall. An hour in at 7 p.m., the open bar was completely closed down because multiple guests were throwing up in the bathroom sinks, causing flooding. Whoa. The groom was so wasted even before the ceremony, but was blackout by the time of reception. During the first dance, he kept his hands in his cargo pant khakis. Oh, it's the cargo pants for me. The entire time, and ate dinner sitting on the floor in a corner of the hall while the bride sat at the head table alone. About 2 hours in, the groom randomly left and slept at their house while the bride stayed in the newlywed suite by herself. They are now separated, as you may have assumed by this point. Yeah, I think it's a general rule of thumb that if your wedding is horrible and just trashy, the marriage itself is on thin ice. A friend's wedding, she was walking down the aisle and had to pause to put out a cigarette. She just really needed one, guys. Stressful. It was a small wedding and her friends thought it was hilarious. Married less than 2 years. She married him because he was in the military and she thought she was getting cash for life. He chose deployment to a war zone over staying with her. Oh, dang. A wedding where they had a flag that said, I had my wedding on Friday because Saturdays are for the boys. That really happened. Look at that. There's photo evidence. You keep your Saturdays, honeys, and maybe the rest of your life too. With that attitude, every day of the week is gonna be for the boys, if you know what I'm saying. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiance I don't like her wedding dress? What? You did what?
So you have chosen death.
Order! I shall have no gallivanting in my court. Put your pitchforks down. We shall reserve judgment until the end, and not before. So my fiance and I are getting married in 9 months. She's been dress shopping with her girls for months now. She found the dress she loved and bought it, and was too excited to keep it a secret. She showed me pics of the bridesmaids' dresses, and I told her they were pretty. They match my groomsmen's suits very well. Anyway, she brought her dress out and asked what I thought. Don't think that we should have done that. Are we not supposed to like keep it a secret until the wedding day? I specifically asked her if she wants the God's honest truth and wants me to critique the dress, or if she knows she loves it and she just wants to show me. She said she wanted my opinion.
She's making the wrong choice.
She put the dress on and came out of the bathroom, and I would be lying if I said it. Open your mouth, Charlotte. Say the words. She put the dress on and came out of the bathroom, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little disappointed. She's a beautiful woman and looks incredible in anything, of course, but the dress completely dwarfed her and didn't really fit the wedding theme she worked so hard for. She wanted a forestry, magical, and whimsical type theme, flower crowns on the bridesmaids, etc. But she chose a super sparkly dress with a huge skirt, which looked nothing like the simply body-hunging, sexy dresses she's been repeatedly showing me.
What are you complaining about?
She basically picked a huge Disney princess dress, and I just didn't like how it looked at all. Oh, this is a toughie. This one's tough. Tough. I was honest with her when I told her I didn't like it, and I was surprised she picked it because it just doesn't seem to match her. And I just thought it was too much poof and sparkle. She got really quiet, stormed back upstairs, then stormed out of the house and went to her mom's, texted me saying she couldn't believe I would say I didn't like it and what a dickhead I am, and has blocked my number. This is our first major fight, and I'm so annoyed because I asked if she wanted a real opinion and she said yes.
She doesn't mean what she's saying.
Well, I'm sure that she didn't think that it would be that opinion. Yes, I want your opinion, but I want you to compliment me. God. Am I the a-hole for telling her I don't like the dress? Edit to add, I read my credit card statement. The dress was $9,000. Might help explain the reaction. Oh, you don't like this $9,000 dress? Great, because I can't return it. Probably went through her head. I don't know what to do but sit here and laugh. Is laugh crying a thing? It is. I would say there's very complex emotions associated with it. This is a tough one. I see both sides. I feel like you're kind of harsh. I hope that you weren't that harsh to her in person, because the way that you're putting it sounds really, really, really harsh. Honestly, you're all a-holes. You're all jerks. Like, the bride isn't an a-hole, but she did ask for your opinion, and you're an a-hole because you maybe were a little bit harsh. Nobody wants to hear that their wedding dress looks like crap on them. But you said that it didn't look like crap on her. You said she looks beautiful in anything. You just didn't like the style. And then she also messed up by showing you the dress in advance. But it's also like, if you can't return it, then why even say anything? All right, I'm gonna need to consult the audience. OOP, you're not an a-hole, but you're an idiot.
This isn't making me feel any better.
She bought the dress. Hundreds, likely thousands have been spent on it. You can't return it. She now has to fork out a ton more money to buy her second choice gown or wear something she knows you don't like. Yeah, that's awkward. That's really, really awkward. Like what's she supposed to do? Now she's gonna walk down the aisle knowing that you don't like the way that she looks. Like, nobody wants to know that. No matter what, she will now feel crappy about her clothes on your wedding day. What possible good could have come of telling her you don't like the dress she already bought? Yeah. Advice, tell her with some minor alterations you would love it. It just didn't fit quite right, or some of the sparkles were wrong. Pick something she can fix, then maybe you can save her feelings. This is what I think many couples struggle with. It's like, you want their opinion, but you also want to be told what you want to hear. So can you be mad when they tell you something that you don't like? When it's something as important as a wedding dress, it gets a little bit sticky, because it's like, yeah, we don't want you to look like an idiot when you're walking down the aisle, but at the same time, she likes the dress. That's the dress she picked. It's both of your weddings. OP responds, dang, I feel like a major idiot right now. Definitely noted. The important thing here is owning it. Every Disney princess has her woodland animals and poofy dress until Elsa, so they're not opposites. Soft, you're the a-hole, but I hope you can fix this. Yeah, genuinely, like, I hope that you find a way to, like, smooth things over. Even, yeah, okay, yeah, she said she wanted your opinion. You gave it to her. Blah, 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 blah. But, like, come on, man. She was looking for a compliment. She wasn't looking for you to cut her down. A big puffy princess dress says woodland magical fairy tale to me far more than a sexy figure hugging the dress does. That's a good point. Depends on what kind of, like, magical woodland thing you're going for. If it's more of like a hippie midsummer type thing, then it would have been, you know, like a more of a tight fitted, like, lacy dress. But, like, I could see it working. Maybe she wants to stand out. That was the dress she picked. She obviously picked it because she likes it. And maybe she freaking changed her mind. I don't know. I feel bad for the bride. I really do. All I can think about reading this is Giselle in Enchanted. Her regular style was 100% gorgeous Art Nouveau, and then her wedding dress was straight up sparkle-tastic and cupcake style. And you know what? It worked. Most brides want to feel like princesses on their wedding day. Make no mistake, when she looked for this dress, she had tons of people probably telling her, like, you look like a goddess. Like, you look like a princess. You have to get this dress. This is the one. Every bride picks dresses based on, you know, how they feel in it, and also what the people they love say about it. So it wasn't just her opinion, it was everybody else's opinion too.
But it's not my opinion.
Okay, OP clarifies, think witchy Stevie Nicks woodland, not Disney woodland. I don't know how to explain it, but not sparkles and poof. Okay, that makes more sense. I still think it's likely she just fell in love with it once she had it on. You never know what will actually look good on you or click with you until you try stuff on. A note from a former bridal stylist. Most of the time, the dresses women fall in love with are 100% not the dress they came in looking for. Things happen. Stuff doesn't look like you thought it would. Something catches your eye. Things happen. She likely knows it doesn't match her theme, which is probably why she showed it to you, honestly. She loves it and she's the one wearing it. And the above comment is correct. It's paid for and wedding dresses are no returns. You're not the a-hole for giving your opinion. You are, as above commenter said, an idiot. Not the a-hole, but an idiot for sure.
Well, that's a relief.
Oh, I'm sorry. I kicked you.
That's like what happens when I accidentally, like, step on a dog tail or something. It feels so bad. Oh God, it's the worst. Even though I know you can't feel it. I'm just talking to, like, a camera on a tripod. I guess I should apologize to the tripod, but it's funnier if I apologize to you. Am I the a-hole for refusing to make my house wheelchair accessible? My cousin is getting married next weekend. He proposed to his girlfriend on Wednesday and wants to get married by the next Saturday. Oh, that's quickly. They want to hold the ceremony at our grandparents' house, which I've the legal inheritance of. I have no objections to them wanting to get married there or anything. Also, there's no reason to technically rush the wedding, but they say they're in a very happy place and want to be married ASAP, whatever rows their boat, okay? Red flag. They want to hold the ceremony in the backyard, and there's this platform of sorts where they want the wedding party to sit at reception. The thing is, one of their bridesmaids is a wheelchair user, so they want to add a ramp to the platform. Now, the conflict is they asked me to get a ramp there. I've talked to the contractor who's done most of the furniture and stuff in that house, and he says he can only get to it next month. He's busy with some personal affairs.
Are you having an affair?
I told my cousin this, and he and his fiance are mad at me when I refuse to hire a different contractor or get a quick work done. I'm sorry. How is that your problem? Looking for how it is your problem. I've offered to attach a temporary ramp, the detachable kind, which I could rent from a nearby shop. The bridesmaid is refusing this, saying she deserves a better accommodative and accepting facility. Thing to be noted is the cousin doesn't want to pay for ramp construction since it's not his house and doesn't even want to pay any % of the rent for the ramp. Okay, this is why we don't rush weddings. There's things that you need to pay for. Also, the rest of the house is wheelchair accessible since my grandma needed it, including washrooms. It's only this platform for some reason that has no ramp but only stairs. I don't want any sloppy or expensive ramp done in a rush because I don't have that kind of money saved or want to compromise the quality. They seem kind of like entitled. They're like, oh, you're so rich, you got the house, now you must pay for my wedding. Not the whole wedding, but you get my point. I mean, you are kind of like letting them use the house, probably for free. So the bride texted me saying she and my cousin have always walked on eggshells around me to make accommodations for my handicap and feelings. This is the least I can do for them. For reference, my handicap is my autism. It never occurred to me it's a handicap or issue for people, at least family, to be around me. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Call it off. Call it off. Call the whole thing off. When I talked to my parents about this, they were angry at her and have refused to attend the wedding where their kid is disrespected. When my aunt, groom's mom, found out about this whole thing, she was red angry and said she might not attend the wedding too. Now the bride is calling me an ableist and an instigator. Am I the a-hole? Well, according to her, aren't you like also disabled? And you're like greatly inconveniencing her with your autism, and this is the least you can do for her to repay her for your autism. Edit, wheelchair user instead of bound. Sorry, wasn't aware of the negative connotation. I agree, I didn't know that. Sorry for any offense caused. Edit number 2, mostly everyone's saying I shouldn't let them host the wedding there. Seems unfair since it was his grandparents' home too. But yes, I may not attend the wedding. It's disrespectful, I see. After reading all the comments, and the general consensus was to not let them use my house for the wedding. And when I asked my parents about this, they wholeheartedly agreed. Well, it just so happened we were at said house, we being my parents and aunt, groom's mom, when I texted them saying, I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable with you hosting the wedding or reception in my house. And he simply texted back, okay. That's when my aunt called him up and started yelling how he was raised better and he being disrespectful to his sister isn't what she ever expected. She said she won't attend the wedding, and when undoubtedly the marriage will fail, he will come back to his senses and his family.
Amen, sister.
Whoa, who? The fact that he was shell-shocked would be an understatement. He immediately came over to meet us, and when I told him about the handicap text from his bride-to-be, he was taken aback. He apologized profusely. He literally said he's begging for forgiveness. Yes, he was irrational for the ramp demand, but the bridesmaid was emotionally manipulating him and blackmailing him a lot. He called off the wedding and has gone no contact with the fiance. She saw the original Reddit post on Reddit, texting me, calling me a little tattletale dimwit. So F you, Carol! Carol! Get out of here, Carol!
Nobody likes you.
Also, as it turns out, they were rushing the wedding because she didn't want to sign a prenup. Oh, that's okay. I love being right. She saw the original post on Reddit. I already read that. Also, as it turns out, they were. I already read that. I'm just so excited. Dodged a bullet there, it seems. Yes, she said this part herself, yelling in rage. So no wedding, but my aunt is hosting dinner the night of the wedding and making my favorite dishes.
Everybody wins.
All right, I think it goes without saying, you're not the a-hole, and I don't need to hear anybody else's opinion because I love being right. Also,
Case closed.
we got time for one more. I think we do. A short one, just a little one. Just a little one. My husband Wants everyone to know I'm not pure. It's exactly what the title says. I've been with my fiance for 6 years and engaged for the past 8 months. I've been doing most of the wedding planning, but my fiance, let's just call him Ryan. Ryan. Will give his input here and there. So about a month ago, Ryan, out of nowhere, said he was talking to some of his coworkers and thinks I shouldn't wear a white dress. This was really weird to me. Ryan is a very artistic guy, so I figured this was more about how the photos would turn out or something along those lines, but I'm set on wearing white. I told him this, and you could see that he was annoyed, but he let it go. 2 weeks ago, I finally picked and paid for my dress, and this caused a huge argument. Ryan again came to me very annoyed. He asked to see the dress I picked, but I said no because I wanted it to be a surprise for our wedding day. He asked me to at least tell him what color it was, and when I said white, he threw a fit.
Dude, chill.
I honestly don't see why this was a big deal. Almost everyone wears white on their wedding day, and when I asked him what color he thought I should be wearing, he told me I should wear red? I'm sorry, what?
Look at my wife, see her walk, revel in her.
Again, this was super weird to me. I asked him why I would wear red to our wedding, and he told me that brides only wear white when they're pure.
That sounds made up.
I'm sorry, yeah, okay, maybe like 200 years ago. For some background, Ryan and I started dating when I was 21 and he turned 20. He was a virgin when we met and only had one other person who was my ex-boyfriend of 4 years throughout high school. This caused a lot of problems. The first year of our relationship, and we almost did not continue dating because of how insecure he felt. After the first year, it was never a problem again until now, I guess. He went to my mom about all of this thinking she would convince me, but she's on my side. So 2 nights ago, Ryan and his mom and I stood in our living room and argued about my sex life being shown in a dress. His mom stated that he's no longer a virgin either, so maybe he should wear red too, and he bursted out crying. Ryan is still stating that me wearing white would be deceiving all the guests, and that is different for guys. Oh, wow. This all has honestly made me question even marrying this man. No, call it off, babe. Like, what? Act like what? Like, get... I don't know if this is just because everything is so fresh, but I'm really disgusted by him, as you should be, babe. This is messed up. He's not even religious.
Why are you making my life so difficult?
Is he religious? No, he's not. So I don't know if this is all just... So I know this is just about him still thinking about me losing my virginity at 18 before I even knew him. I just needed to rant to anyone about how psycho this is. Call it off. Let's call the whole thing off. I'll call it off for you. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Like, you're not marrying him. I've decided.
You're not the director of me.
Look, if he's this insecure after 6 years together, things are not going to improve. Is he going to mention your impurity in his wedding speech? What does he think is going to happen? People are going to ask why she's wearing red. And what is he going to say? Oh, it's because she's a... Oh, it's because, you know, she had romantic relations with people other than me before we got married. Either way, it makes you look like a... Is he going to try and leverage this in your marriage to get what he wants? Is he going to demand paternity tests for your children? Yeah, this sounds like some serious insecure behavior, dude. I'd consider what you're signing up for. Dude sounds messed up AF. The fact that he can't see how irrational this is means that he thinks his thinking is rational. Like, he thinks this is like normal. That's it. It's decided. You're not getting married. At least in my mind, you're not. Subscribe!